We are back with another conversation of value. And today you want to make sure you're tuned in. You got your notepad. You are ready to go because we are about to learn what it means to count the cost. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Jamila Moore. And this is the incomparable DeBorah Lee, where we get to pick her brain and pick her wisdom on what it is that each of these subjects and topics mean for us and our walk with the Lord, in us being mighty women, mighty men, amazing women, amazing men out here chasing the Lord's will for our life. Not any will, his perfect will. With that, how do we count the cost, Deborah?
Oh, count the cost. Luke 14:28, King James Version. For which of you, intending to build a tower, sitteth not down first, and counteth the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it? So the hope is that you count the cost so that you're not starting and stopping, starting and stopping. So the hope is that you're not careless about this. The hope is that you don't end up in regrets. And even when you have a regret, the hope is that you don't live in regret, that you get the lesson and you keep moving. The hope is that you prepare to labor and that you have the tools. And one of the things we provide here is a toolkit. So that hope is what we hope that you link into, whether it's here or you go where Miss Moore will tell us you get to go after we produce what we're producing here today. So the hope is that you think ahead, that you prepared. And check this out. You're going to love this little gem here. It's a big gem. Money is not the thing that will keep you from doing what you need to do as it relates to counting the cost. It's not always finances, you all. It is the sacrifice. It's the sacrifice. Are you willing to make the sacrifice? Yes. And one of the biggest sacrifices that you will sow and that you will gain is increased faith. Oh, yeah, increased faith. See, when you put all this together, that's what counting the cost is really all about. Am I willing to sacrifice and do whatever it takes? You have a plan ahead of time. You have an idea that what you're going to do is not going to be easy. Hopefully, you have some supports in place. And so you head towards that because you counted the cost. You didn't just go on a whim and say, I'm going to do this without a plan, without understanding what is going to cost you. Listen to this: emotionally, physically, financially. As I said earlier, it's a sacrifice. It's going to be a sacrifice. If you've got $10, you may have to sacrifice $5 of it as part of counting the cost of something that you really want to get done. And most people won't use the $5 for that because they're not willing to go the distance in counting the cost with the other pieces that you need in place. That no matter what, by any means necessary, we've all heard that before, by any means necessary, I'm going to make this happen. But I do have a concrete plan. And one of the greatest strategists I know is Miss Jamila Moore.
Oh, and I thank you. I received that. I want to live in or lean into this emotional piece because I feel like sometimes that's the make or breaker, because some of us may count the cost, right?
Mm-hmm.
We may think like, this is going to be tough. I'm going to do it. But then our emotions will start to come in, and now we're ready to just throw the whole plan away, throw the whole progress away, everything because of a moment in time due to circumstances. So how do we navigate when we get to the emotional cost of being visionaries?
Well, one of the main things I think is so critically important is, and I say it, I don't care what your platform is, I don't care what you're trying to do, you need armor bearers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, armor bearers. It's just not for people on a certain level, they're for everyone. So you need somebody that you're checking in with. And this is what I use. I use comrades. A comrade, you don't even have to like your comrade. Your comrade is going to make sure you're accountable because you said you were going to school this year. And you said you were in an accelerated program, you're going to finish by the end of the year. So I'm that person that's going to be checking in and asking you some hard questions. And at the same time, supporting your mental stability. Because we've already come into agreement about this. We had a conversation, we had prayer, we had commitment. And so now you hit a hard spot. And sometimes, if you're really committed to a person, you don't have to tell them you hit a hard spot. They're going to call you. I'm big on checking in on people. You anywhere in my life, and I let you in because God said so. It's a divine connection. And guess what? I'm going to check in. I'm going to pop up when you least expect it. And I'm going to ask a hard question, maybe one question. Hey, how you doing? And don't tell me fine.
Ooh, don't tell me fine.
I'm going to ask you more about that in terms of if you say fine or good, I'm going to ask you, what does that mean? If you say fine, I'm going to tell you about the kindest, the help me, Lord, the sanctified version of fine. Fouled up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. And so that's not a 4-letter word that you're allowed to use with me, and neither is good because now I'm going to dig. I am an excavator, and some people have said that I am a surgeon in the body of Christ. I have a scalpel. I am digging. I am digging because I want you at your best. I want to celebrate all of your wins with you. It's going to feel like I won something when you win something. And so in counting the cost, it has to do with, too, who you've let in your life. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because there's a cost in that relationship, no matter what type of relationship it is. It could be a neighbor. There's a cost that you counted to be in that neighborhood and to maybe go across the yard when the new person moved in and bring them. Can't take anything down because, it's not like it used to be years ago. You could bring over an apple pie or something. But you have decided that, you know what, I'm in a neighborhood and I don't want to be a foreigner in the neighborhood. I need to know, and this is a part of it, I need to know who's in my neighborhood. I need to know who's in my life and what their commitments are when they're coming in. What are you about? Are you going back to graduate school? Are you married and planning a third child? Do you want me in your wedding? Hey, guess what? That's up close and personal because I'm supporting you beyond the ceremony. So again, I don't care what decisions we're making. We need to sit still long enough, take out a piece of paper, a pad, and write down, what is this going to cost me in every area of my life? Some people are doing things exponentially and it's costing them relationships because everybody can't go with you. And because there haven't been any prior conversations. So just make sure you've sat long enough to count the cost. You don't want to create regrets unnecessarily because you didn't take the time to check in on you and what you were committed to and then share it with your crew. Hey, everyone, I'm going back to school. You've been supportive. This is what I believe I'm going to need in this process. Or I remember an actress that was in Waiting to Exhale, a little blurb in the newspaper, 2 lines. And she said, I told my friends I'm not available. I'm working on a movie. She gave them warning. And so that's counting the cost because guess what? She didn't want to make the movie and finish the movie and have nobody to celebrate with because she just ghosted everybody. So that was wisdom. That's a level of care. Again, take your time. Don't rush anything. Take time to sit down and write it out. Talk to someone else, have conversations. So everybody knows what's going on. Everybody's on the same page. And guess what? You avoid a lot of loss. You don't want to be doing all this and losing in one area of your life because you didn't take the time to plan it the way that we're talking about today.
Y'all, count the costs. Count the costs, right? Because there is an emotional component, there is a mental component, there is a spiritual component, there is a physical component, right? Because things will shift because you have to shift for the thing. I'm going to say that again. Things will shift because you have to shift for the thing. And this is one of the ones where you're going to have to go back and you're going to have to replay it because you need to make sure that you sat in the wisdom there and gotten your 7 levels of revelation from this word. Okay, we already done talked about consistency in the word. Being here every week, every other week is consistency in the word. And if you need some prayer, head to IamDeBorahLee.com and submit your prayer request. If you're serious about developing as a woman of wisdom and poise, make sure you sign up for WWP, which meets on the 2nd and 4th Sunday of the month on IamDeBorahLee.com. And then also just make sure you share this broadcast with a friend that you think could use this. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel. Make sure you're liking the posts because we're here to serve you and to make sure that you are holistically well and accessing a life of freedom. DeBorah, anything, last things?
Hey, just increase. Just do it well. Do it well. We believe in you, so do it well.
All right, y'all. Take care.